Ar-Rahman-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Have we not made for him a pair of eyes? And we'll start all over. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Have we not made for him a pair of eyes, and a tongue, and a pair of lips, and shown him the two highways? But he had made no haste on the path that is steep. And what will explain to thee the path that is steep? It is the freeing of the bondsman, of the giving of food in a day of privation, to the orphans with claim of relationship. Then will he be of those who believe and enjoin patience and constancy. This is one of our favorite ayats, a series of ayats, and this is we've been headed here where we are, where we would be today, for a long time. So bear with me as I try to explain uh, this quantum leap. Quantum leap is like they have it in industry, and they have it when you in one stage of development and you just jump over 2 or 3 stages, right? I mean, of development. That's called a quantum leap or quantum jump. We see that right now in not only in industry and what is it, artificial intelligence. Uh, we we see where, believe it or not, just 20 years ago, when you would plug up your internet, it used to have that sound. Yeah, that was that wasn't long ago. And to keep up with this stuff is unbelievable, because I would tell my daughters, okay, I'm packing up all of my stuff, like my DVDs and CDs and what have you, because I'm going on the road. They say, you have all of that on your phone. Technically, I didn't believe them. And then 15 years ago, I was coming back on a plane, and there was a white guy sitting next to me, and we was talking, and he had a little gadget, just a little gadget that they had. He says, I got 5,000 CDs and what have you on this little gadget, you know. I didn't even, when you get old, you get slow. It's not that I didn't believe him, but I was used to taking my CDs and DVDs. And who cared about 50 million? Even when, remember I used to ask you to copy that Chinese music? It's already on my phone. It's already there. Everything, all the lectures, when I discovered all of this, I was in shock. You mean I could type up any lectures, or I could type up the Mau Maus? And I could get all the films about the Mau Maus from the 50s. You used to have to go to the library, and if you could get it all. I said, man, this is cheating. This is something else. The point is that from 1900 to 1950, that was a big jump, from the horseless carriage to B-29s, atomic bombs. That was a big jump in history. No, from no cars, no nothing, the world moving at a certain pace. at the horse and buggy pace. And the fastest thing they had in those days was a train. And then later on, they get, and all that was big progress. Then you go from 1950 up until 1970, 75, or 80. You get another big jump. But the jump from 1950 to 1980 was serious. It was future shock type stuff. But the jump from in the last 10 years is unbelievable. Just they got one little old gadget. What is it? The old chess playing thing, a robot. And this guy, the first game he loses, then after that he don't lose no more. That's just now. And that's old because that was 2 years ago. Things now are going so fast that everything that my kids are in their 20s and they don't even know the late teens and 20s. They don't hardly even know, you know what I mean, basically what I'm talking about half the time. Or they know because they happen to read about history and they hear, so they have a little feeling. But still, their timing is off. Like, what time was that they had? Or they've asked me, they said, was you alive during slavery? Because their perception. I said, no. I said, neither was my father, but my grandfather. I said, your great-grandfather, that's rare. And I told him, I said, your grandmother, your great-grandmother, that's all it is. I said, she was born in 1871 or 72, 6 years out of slavery, and her husband, which was my grandfather, I think, believe it or not, my great-grandfather, they fought in the Civil War. Remember we was having the tapes, and I was saying, well, Aunt Dale got my great-grandfather's release papers from the military, and his bayonet. Anyway, we're in a stage right now. Things are moving so fast, and it's unbelievable. So I'm going to try to go into where we at, what this quantum leap means to us right now. And I read this ayat. I'll read it again. Have we not made for him a pair of eyes and a tongue and a pair of lips, and shown him the two highways? But he hath made no haste in the path that is steep. And what will explain to thee the path that is steep? It is the freeing of the bondsman, or the giving of food in a day of privation to the orphan with claims of relationship, or to the indigent down in the dust. Does anybody remember we used to talk about 3.5 stars, homeless shelters, and all of that? Well, for us, this is a great opportunity, and in fact, it's been in our network and on our mind and in our heart for a long, long time. But it hit me the other day, and it was just a simple thing. Like one of our brothers was talking about those trees, and he said, "Well, if that tree falls, if tree falls, everybody has to take care of their own thing." So, because I had said, me and the guy is going to share. The guy next door, the Latino guy, and we're going to share. And he get his friends together, and so I was being told that you don't have to do that. Any of these trees fall, only each person, if it fall on 3 backyards or 3 houses, they have to take care of their own stuff. Because you didn't plant that tree. You know what I mean? I said, no, I said, I ain't doing that. And then I mentioned something about the sky might fall, it might produce bad luck. But, like if you used to. So anyway, but it might have been shocking to hear the subject right now on the uphill road. What would make you know what the uphill road is? If anybody remembers, we have been talking for months, technically, and years. We haven't talked about it in quite a while. About this uphill road, about homeless shelter or the unhoused, and having, uh, 3-star, 3.5-star, 4-star homeless shelters. Well, for us, that's our great leap forward. That's our big jump, to jump right where we is now, right where we are now. It's English, so we'll try to use it halfway right. From where we are now, not where we is now, but where we are now. And for somebody from the outside or somebody watching these, they might think this is a whole new subject for us. But it's not. It's been chiseled in stone for a long time. It's just to the time evolve and things happen to put you there. But we have been relatively conscious that this was our next step right here. This was our next step. And our place in California was on our mind all along. And then, of course, they sold it, but we'll get it back. And then our masjid there, and this all around here, everything we have here. We hope that this will become, well, the best we're going to do is this is staging area, office space, and all that here in California. We'd also talked about old military bases. And we had talked about unless you're out in California, sometime that homelessness. Has anybody saw what LA looks like, the homelessness and all that? Well, Northern California is the same. And I forget which one has the most. Okay, but about doing good for people, the uphill road. Well, now the uphill road has to be on a gigantic scale for right now, for what I'm talking about. The homelessness is so great, and poverty is okay. Everybody can see that they're loaning out now trillions of dollars. I had a $1,400 check right here. That's great. That's great. But debt, since this is we always talk about the standard currency for the day is the U.S. dollar. There are other people moving or getting ready to move away from that. When they move away from that, this thing called a dollar is finished. There's global disaster and there's all kind of, here in America, they just driving straight ahead. They're not even looking to the left or the right. If they got enough for themselves to eat, I mean, you can't even keep them in the house on telling them to wear the mask. Just wear the mask another 3 days and we'll be all right. What the heck you talking about? So people are not focused at all. Now, this homeless thing, and remember, part of our Islam, especially the Salat and Zakat, this is a part of our deen, and we want our next stage to be. The basic idea is this: we'll check out California first. And in fact, anybody can look on the internet and look up old military bases or defunct military bases. You know, okay, because we're gonna hit this. We're gonna hit the ground running. What we plan to do. This is our plan. Okay. So our plan is to take. You may not believe it, but we had written up about when we talk about $100 million and 15 million. This is our theme for this year's strategic management under conditions of repression. As a movement, we currently own and operate close to 15 million in land and property. So when you combine here and there, that's actually what it may not look like it, but that's what it's worth. Absolutely dealing it without no riba at all. Yeah, we didn't have no. Can you imagine? It ain't no Negroes. We had to be thinking ahead for us to do all of this. With just think about it. There's been boss man been downtown in total opposition to us ever since we've been here. I mean, right? And to get here, just where we are now, just nobody else has even done anything like close to that, right? I mean, they haven't even. We would be considered a miracle just being here and being alive and got a chance. We fixing to make a comeback. We gonna pick the white. No. So here we are, and so what's been the purpose of all of this? So sometimes you have to let things go by in its own stages. So a quantum leap means basically, we talked about it for many times. 3.5 start, that's where we start. Homeless shelters. Well, how would we do that in a meaningful way? Number one, old military bases. Where's the money going to come from? We're going to go to California, and whatever we win, we're going to. That's our that's our goal, and we have to rub boss man on the shoulder. Somebody tell him, boss man, or here's how we quiet him down a little bit. We don't have any skill in management in those big because it's got to be in order just for it to be anything, it has to be on a gigantic scale. So we'll have a prototype military base, right? Have all the functions, feed the people, da 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 da. People come from the big city and they be on the military base, and you know what I mean. And the military bases usually have miles of property around it, and we can plant gardens and we could do all what we want. We're there. We might get it for $1, from boss man. He loan you stuff like that for $1 for that type of project. The all the food that comes back, bread, milk, and all that come back from the stores, that stuff is brand spanking new. So if you got access to Safeways, to Albertsons, what they got out there, all those supermarkets, you have access to all the food you need. Not only you're in California, so uh, our people that are in the home shelters can do many things. They can stay there. They can help fight forest fires, right? They can do a lot of good work right there at the homeless shelter. And they can make so much. We could have crews of plumbing crews, that do plumbing, that do all other kind of work. In other words, the people will have a choice in our homeless shelter. They'll have good food, good relaxation. They don't have to pay nothing. And we got everything in the world for them right there. I mean, what I mean is they throw the bread away. By the truckloads, they throw bread away. After eggs, after they go past a certain date, they got to send them over. They got to just break them and throw them away, right? Because they can't sell them. And that stuff is good. Can you imagine eggs, milk, cheese, all that stuff is right there for the people. Okay, so we collect that. We make those homeless shelters a home away from home for people that need it. We start with the people who are homeless right now. You don't have to worry. There's thousands of people. I mean, by the literal thousands of people out there already. Nobody love them, nobody taking care of them, nobody nothing. Okay? To help with these camps, you got tons of colonels and generals who been mustered out, right? And they boys is part of them homeless. You know what I mean? Now, we got to make the government comfortable. So if we run in this in an Islamic way with love and compassion and all of that, all we got to do with the colonels and generals is have them, they just retired, but they want to help, right? They want to help. So they can manage them military camps themselves, but with love and compassion. Not with that old military discipline, right? Because we want to help those people. We want to help those people recover. And we want to get a whole crew trained up and ready to go before the big one comes. See, they done borrowed all this money and they got all this competition. Hey, man, could you turn the air on just for a minute? They're going to be in trouble. Yeah, the air condition. Does it feel like it needs a little air? Huh? Okay, just for a minute or two. Just for a minute or two. I can feel like I need a little air because boss man got me on this itch. That's why I pull out my stuff, that quick itch, So anyway, that's when it's humid, that's when it's humid and a little warm. So that's why I carry my stuff with me. Anyway, so here we are. What will make you know what the uphill road is? In America has a lot of trouble right now. We want to help America solve solve the problems that it has. Those solutions have to be gigantic. So our first camp is a prototype. You know how to run it, how to manage it, how to get it going. Then we repeat that all over the country because there's thousands and thousands of people that are homeless, right? And all them big barracks, they can have barracks for women and children and barracks for men. You know what I mean? Barracks for couples. You can do all kind of stuff. Because they got those huge institutions and they're closed. They're just sitting there right now, not being used. Right. What's that? To put that are coming across the border. Okay, but remember, we got that's for a handful of. We got America, and we got military bases all up here, all up there near Canada. They're all over the country, and they're sitting there. The ones that are so. Our first stage is like this: the prototype. How we gonna do it? What we got? You know how to get it rolling. And this is not just for us. Like you don't have to come there and like they go to these other programs. You got to recite the Bible and stuff like that. It's not. We're not doing that. We're doing it. What will make you know what the uphill road was? You know what I mean? When they ask us, of course, we're Muslims, and this is why we're doing that. Da, 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 da. And if you want to know, you can come right over there. You know, we might have a mosque on a masjid on the base. Who knows? But here's the idea. The idea has been gelling all along. It's been gelling and gelling and gelling. And now this is the time. The global atmosphere demands this now. What do I mean? America America's not paying any attention to nothing. And okay, they put out a little stimulus thing here, but that's not the long run. That's not solving any problems. Still, California has forest fires. Still, the places drying up. Still, other places is flooding, right? I want you to imagine all these military bases full of people uh, that are being treated like they're valuable. And they're long enough to be taught. There's courses taught how to live. There's no limit like you can be here a week, a month, a year, right? And there's all kind of people in those. There are people who are learned right there in those homeless things right now. There's learned people there. There's, huh? Amongst that population, there's a okay. Here's if you do good, if you do good, you don't have to worry about the outcome because your niyyah is to do good. Okay, here's the good we want to do. It's a big good because we want to help America and the people of America protect itself from this ongoing onslaught that's already here. This is already this. They're gonna give us a check now. They give us a check now, but they can't give those out forever. America was already overburdened with debt. And imagine now they want to build, they want to have a $10 trillion project for all the highways and which is good. And it'll put a lot of people to work. But see, the whole world in America is especially is off balance. We done talked about it a million times. Okay, whether it's the oceans, the air, all of that. Okay, so what we've been doing here is working and planning for what is our role in during this period. You know, that's what everybody got to figure out. What's my role in this? We have to figure what's our role in this. Okay, The doing of good deeds, all of this is hadith and Quran over and over again, right? So that's our reason for being here now. And the quantum leap that we're working toward is from out of what we're into right now, or not from out of what we're into, staying into what we are, but expanding into doing good deeds for the population as a whole. There ain't nothing, it's something that nobody wants to do, right? So we don't have no competition. And I feel like whatever we do, we're going to get some of our money from the government. That's the first prototype when we get from the government. If we don't get nothing from the government, we'll do it on our own. You know, we'll start, if we have to, we'll start with just what we have. But the amount people that are unwanted, disenfranchised, is unbelievable. We don't really even know the numbers. Okay, so that's our goal for right now. So the theme for this year is strategic management of the conditions of repression. Da 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 da. As a movement we currently own and operate, we've mentioned that before, but it says, with your help, our goal is to become a $150 million organization within 10 years. See, this ain't new. We've always been headed this way. And these are, to other people, these are astronomical numbers. We didn't have them wrote down. We want to be a $150 million organization within 10 years. Well, that 10 years has already passed because this was probably 2008. Okay. But the idea never left us. The idea never, we'd always talked about having a 3.5 star homeless shelter, right? Yeah, where people come and ask you, what do you want for breakfast? Right? And they prepared. What can we do for you? Can you imagine that that's service to humanity? Really is praise to Allah and service to humanity. So that's what we want to be about. In the meantime, we have to realize where we are. When I was telling the FBI about, yeah, we want to do some, what do we, not homeless shelters, what do we call them? Transitional housing. You want to do what? I said, yeah, transition. You know, people get out of prison. Why, you could. I said, man, y'all got to give a break. I actually think I used that. Y'all got to give you got to, you got to relax, man. But you could tell them to do something, and I said, shh. I said, man, then the only thing we can do is go lay down and die to make you feel like okay, right? Just go lay down and die, not do nothing. Just say I quit and go lay down and die. Or you're going to say, or they would say, now this is where the generals and the colonels and all that, the camp managers and all those people from their system, we have to have them help us with their management skills, but not with that discipline they got. Wow, we run a camp like this. What? You just help us organize it, and you can run it. Those are their people. So we got to teach them the concept of kindness, not that physical discipline and dumbness. Because they old people, you can't untrain them. You got to try to re-educate them a little bit. So anyway, yeah, you could turn that off if you wanted. Anyway, so so we have to have, first of all, the people, their state of mind. The people, basically, we would get a whole conglomeration of people with drug problems, with alcohol problems, with living problems. That ain't going to be no joke. How to manage those many people in those areas, it's going to take all the human skill we got. Yeah, yeah, you're going to have to be really loving people because you got to give them time to learn how to be human beings, how not to steal from each other, how you don't need all of that in that cart because we got stuff down here. You just come down there and get it, right? It's kind of like what was that? The saying outside of Boys Town. The guy brought his brother, Boys Town, and say he ain't heavy. He said he must be heavy. He said he ain't heavy. He's my brother. This is a guy about 10 years old. Kevin is 12 years old, or 14, carrying his brother 8 or 9 years old. He ain't heavy. He's my brother. They got a great song like that. Okay, look. For us, this is an opportunity to do good. And the way you get to paradise is do good and not expect no return. That don't mean everybody got to have that. You know what I mean? As their principle, but we should have it. And then over the periods of time, we can teach people to like themselves, to actually love themselves. Self-love is the best love. When you love yourself, you can love other people. If you don't love yourself, you ain't gonna love nobody else. That's clear. Okay. Helpers of America, you help America, America will help you. What I mean by that? That means there are so many good people. See, it's where you focus. If we focus on being the white man is a mean old joker, that's basically what you're going to get, right? Over and over again. Because that's where you're focused. But that's not all of America. That's just some of America. That's just him, right? And out of all these hundreds of millions of people, there are many good people in America that are just good human beings. So all we got to do is focus on the good. Let them, if they want to be mad, they want to. Of course, we have to bring a few generals and colonels along so that at least they'll know somebody watching us and that we ain't going to get too far out of line. Because all that sucker would think he's going to raise an army of homeless people, get them trained, and take over America. There's something stupid going on. But he got to think like that because nobody would do good for any other reason. And everybody you see on their screen, they pretend to be good until they can become the dictator, the local dictator, and then all of a sudden they're the dictator. Well, they're not used to Quranic and Hadith infused type of personalities. They're just not used to it. So we got to help train boss man, especially after the rhetoric we done had around here. He probably, it's going to take a lot of good works just to say, boss man, just relax. Hey, man. But that's where we're coming from. That's what our mission is right now. Okay, already happy. Mualafatul kulub fi arikab fi sabilillah. These are different stages. Those mu'allafatul qulub, those whose heart have been recently reconciled. Those people can get charity. Fi'a rikab, those people who in bondage, they neck, rikab, the neck. And fisabilillah, in the way of Allah. So, okay, that's the basic idea of what we want to do. In the meantime, we got a little stuff that we're like management type stuff. First of all, y'all heard the car making all that noise the other day. Okay, if I got to take care of cars all the time, then boss man, it would, all he got to do is mess up a car, and every car right down that road, the little yellow Volkswagen, I drove it up here, and that's it. So I'm gonna go out there and tell them, y'all can give me about 20, 25 grand for all the trouble you done caused me and fix the cars out there. I'll either go there tomorrow and tell them or whatever. But they did that stuff. And the other car, click, 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 click. I don't know. I done had so many cars that run perfect one day. So I would like to have help in the motor pool, because first of all, you have to stay elevated and active psychologically. So you can't allow boss man. No super manager would be out there listening to the car to see somebody would take care of that, right? So that's part of okay. Strategic brilliance, one thing. Strategic depth. Strategic depth is what we're getting into right now. The depth of the problem, the heart of the reality that we're living in. Strategic imagination is what we're using right now to imagine a world that's different than the one that they done made. They done blew it. The world they done made, it ain't gonna work. It don't work. It's a mean, heartless, you know what I mean? It's a non-human world, you know. Okay, so here we got a chance to affect that. We got a chance to, and if you want to catch somebody surprised, let's do what we're talking about right now. You'll surprise everybody. They'll be shocked. Why, those are niggas over there. You want to help feed the homeless and do this, that? Yeah, we're going to do it. And on a big scale, like the reason we've been kind of cruising is because if we would have went to court earlier on these cases, we had a chance to get a reasonable amount of money. When we wait too far past those periods, right, then you go out of the framework of having the ability to charge them for the stuff that they did. There's a time limit on some of that stuff. But it so happens that the bank, there's no time limit on the criminal charges, on selling our property, right? False representation, no time limit. The cases we just got, we was arrested 8 times, and we could draw all of those 8 cases into this one. So we've been thinking about it a little bit, but it doesn't make any difference. Whatever comes to us, we're going to use it for the cause of Allah. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't make no difference. So we say we want to get $150 million. So what if we get 100? So what if we get 50? It doesn't make any difference. Right? It doesn't make any difference, because the first thing we're going to do is a prototype. Probably we'll do it on one of them bases out in California. Y'all could look on the things for abandoned military bases just for the heck of it to see what they, what they do with them. But they're there. Not only abandoned military bases, but abandoned schools. Just think about it. See, all the brick and mortar and what we're living through now accelerates this period. The little not going to school, well, that's accelerating getting rid of all those brick and mortar, big old schools with big $1 billion heating bills, right? And all that stuff all the winter because okay, those things, we don't like to work with the government, but so we could take that huge thing right there and we can do this, that, and another with it and just rent it to us for $1. And if y'all want to pay the heating and gas bill and lights, one thing, but we don't need it. I believe we've seen just little rudimentary things. How much milk people collect, how many extra boxes of cornflakes they throw away. Is warehouses full? You ever see the guy in the grocery store, all the stuff that they taking off the rack and putting it, all that stuff goes to a warehouse. They either throw it away, burn it, or sell it for 10 cents a box. Because it's past the time, the expiration date, right? They have everything, cheese, milk, all of that stuff. See, we have an efficient collection and distribution system. Not only is it a privilege and an honor to want to do this, that's the first thing you got to remember. If your niyyah is to do something, we're already home free because that's our niyyah, that's our intention. We want to do this, right? Now we do it, we get unlimited amounts of blessings. But just to want to do it, you get blessing. You see what I mean? You get one blessing, the same blessing you get that one blessing right away because I want to do that. Okay, let me move on. A new homeless operation will cover everything: growth, expansion, organization, mobilization, management, organization and leadership type of, how are we going to do this? Dawah, Islamic movement, charity, skill, mobilization, organization, and I put X bases, retired personnel. Can you imagine the retired personnel who colonels and generals and all that, who they boys is out there and girls now just wasting away. Can you imagine in the U.S. what was the thing? 22 people die every day, ex-military personnel. It's something like that, right? 22 per day. Ex-military personnel die every day. Suicide. That's America's a big place, but that's a lot of people every day. Man, in a year's time, that's a few thousand people. So since they left Iraq, they didn't had more people die from broken hearts and craziness than they did lost in the war. They only lost 3, 4, 5,000 people, they were saying. But they done lost 100,000 people since then. Hey, man, okay. Nobody cares about those people. We care. And you have to think about when things pick up momentum. When this thing catches hold, either the government gonna come and spend all its time to shut you down. That's his business. He'll get we want to do it, so we get to, if no matter whether we do it or not, if he come like he do with all other stuff he do now, he said, nigga, I don't want y'all to do nothing but die. So, well, boss man, we're gonna eventually pass away, because ain't nobody got a permanent ticket, you know what I mean, for here. Okay, we talked about win case, and I want to move along. Retired personnel for the homeless movement, military with a heart. See, for us to run these huge places, technically, we don't know how to organize a military camp. We don't know how to do all that, but we got tons of ideas. So if we got people all in good shape, thousands of homeless people in our camp, they can help fight the forest fires, right? They can help build sand dams when the water is too high, right? They can do all of that. And we could remind the state that, oh, dear state of California, we had 10,000 people out helping you. How about a little reimbursement, right? Yeah. The other thing is, you're there a long time, they need plumbers today. Tons of them. Somebody teaches plumbing, right? Certified plumbers or jackleg plumbers. It don't make no difference. They can do a good job. Electricians, all of that. We have the people there. We can help people rebuild their lives so they'll feel something about themselves. When they start loving themselves, they can love others. Did you find something?
Says, I think since '88 they started calling them 350.
350 closed military bases.
Most of them, the ones that I was reading, says, they use them some for training, military training, police training.
Right.
The one that I got to in Orlando
Right.
was nothing as far as helping, but you do have some that will turn into like where they have housing, commercial, retail space. So
Look, it's an open field. It's open field. Let's say it's 100. That's fine. 50. That's fine. We get the prototype running. We can reduce homelessness. We can do away with homelessness. Each city next to one of our places, we got trucks running back and forth today, picking up all this food and all of that, and all this fruit. And they got, when they have a box of fruit in the refrigerator, I was just going to fruit. If this one fruit messed up in there, they almost throw the whole thing away. So imagine if it's 52 fruits, peaches in the box. You just take the other one. First of all, you just cut that out and eat the rest of it, because it's only a little spot. And then you got all that food to give people. Up in Oregon and Washington, we can have trucks go up there because they set all the boxes out. Washington and Oregon is where apples come from on that side. They come from over here on this side. So in October and September, when them apples get ready, do you know what you see driving down the street in Portland and all that? Tons of apples go sit there on the street to rot, because people years ago planted them apple trees and they used to eat the apples. Now they don't eat them. They just rot. I mean, they put a sign out, you can have the apples, but they still overflowing in buckets. That's the way Oregon and Washington is now. Well, last time I was there. Just imagine when you're organized, when you have people, you can really help people, and then you can make an avenue for them to help themselves. When they start helping themselves, they start feeling better about themselves. Okay. So we can either let them die, let them use all the drugs they got. Now that don't mean some of them ain't gonna be using no dope. You gotta realize you gotta camp it. They gonna be. But whatever we handle, we're gonna handle it with kindness and friendliness and optimism. You can't lose. Can't lose. Okay. Uh, so this is our practice showcase for world leadership. It's not just for us. See, the world needs new ideas. If we can do this and we're colored too, that gives people. Well, what are you getting out of this? Just doing good for sake. See, it revives the trust factor for people of color and whoever else is working with us. And remember, if you put out something good, guess what? You get good back. Some kind of way that good is going to come back. That's been the problem. Okay. And Allah will carry you along till you get rid of, you'll have enough good that's what you'll respond in a good way to everything. I talked about the motor pool right for our cars. We'll come back to that a little later. Leadership. Whatever we get, whatever we got, we get started with that. Suppose we don't have nothing but here, we'll get started with here. In California, we just, we get started with that. See, we're going to get what we intend to do anyway. So our intention is already right. So whether we do 100 or 5 or 1, we're still all right. Build a new platform out of the discarded, useless, unwanted, valueless. Who? The ones down in the dust. What make you know what the uphill road is? Is what the Quran is saying. Dealing with those people who are unwanted, face down in the dust, and nobody paying no attention to them. Right? And it's a good way to help balance. We can make a whole new pattern of behavior out of all the useless stuff. The useless people and the useless stuff. Suppose they got a carton of eggs and there's only one rotten egg in there. You got 12, right? Right? That's the way we look at whatever we're doing. I'm telling you, I think all this was kind of hooked up for us beforehand, but we're going to give it a try because we've been thinking about 3 and 4 star homeless shelters for a long time. That we don't treat the people like the police. Sit up straight, nigga. Mr. So-and-so, what would you like for breakfast today? With a thing on it, right? And since the people don't have no place, what about all the retired waiters? They've been tired. They've been working for 50 years or 10 years. What about other people that want to do good? You see when they have a homeless thing, feed people at a big church, how many people they got to push people out the back door? We got too many people, right? It's people that want to do good. It's nothing mechanized for good. You want to do good. You mean like We got evil over here. You want to get hooked up in something? Hey, man, we got that going on. Right? That's the way it is. Anyway, we'll speed up a little bit. Okay, that's where we're headed, and that's what we want to do. And with Allah's help, that's our quantum leap. We've been here for a long time. This is not a new idea. Everybody knows this is not a new idea. But it's been gelling, and we've been waiting for the right time because we're on Allah's clock, not on boss man's clock. So whether we humanize camps, schools, or make life worth living, that's something really to be juiced up about. That people's life, if you can take one person in their life means something to them, that's a big deal. But what about when you can do hundreds and thousands of people, and you don't want nothing back for it? You just want to do it. Hey, that's the way we got East Oakland Enterprises. Because if you started like everything we got, we invested it in the community. And I mean, uh, when it was all over, we still had more money than the niggas that kept their money to themselves. All them old gangsters, it ain't but two or three kept any money. It ain't none of them kept it. The Ward brothers, anyway, they was washing cars a few years ago. You know, I'm just saying that this is an honorable thing to do. It's a good thing to do, also. And we'll have a publicity team to kind of pat Boss Man on the back every day. Boss Man, just relax. Nobody got, because Boss Man don't believe. If you want a suspicion, when he hear this, that nigga's really up to something now. We got to find out what them niggas is up to over there. It don't add up, right? And the sad thing about it is it make him more suspicious. If we were just up to a little skullduggery, he would, yeah, they just gonna steal that, and we'll let them get away with that because it fits in our program. Yeah, but nigga want to do good. You want to do good. The uphill road. Put 15 people on that. No, put 50 on that right away. Right? In fact, this whole office, y'all get on that right away. Something's up, right? That's why I put here uh, the FBI attitude towards transitional housing. Remember that transitional housing? They said, I said, yeah, we got the property across the street. We're going to do some transitional housing. People get out of jail. And everybody will run. Well, uh, you're going to do transitional housing? That's probably got us all this extra heat. That's probably because I said, boss man, I say, they just don't believe it. They don't believe it. So we got to get some colonels and generals after 4 or 5 years, that's cousin, these niggas this is true, this is a real deal. It ain't no loss in it for you. They can't use these people for the army or they nigga army because we're here managing, you know what I mean? They just got us managing with love and kindness. That's all. We can't run people around the yard and have them shooting at nobody's. That's the only thing we under restraint of goodness, right? And then after that's why you got to put a few colonels and generals and all that right there, because then they trust them and they know they ain't gonna be against America, but they ain't gonna trust us. We just got to see who gets credit for it. All of that is not important. It's the job get done, because the human misery index, you think it's bad now? Just wait a few more years. There is no general way that this could be helped. I mean, it would have to be really a big deal. Present coming disaster or opportunity. Yeah, this is a great opportunity or it's a great disaster coming. There's something coming, right? It's right around the corner, right? It looks technically like disaster because they done spent all the money and then they spending up. Even if you done thought about some money, they done spent that too. So they owe the money that they owe, and they owe money you done thought about. This is thought about money. Yeah, this is thought about money. $1,400. That's pretty good. What's it gonna be paid back? What does you produce? What, you produce something for that? Uh-uh. Okay, you see, we're not trying to alter the qadr of Allah, but we're trying to take advantage of the qadr of Allah. What that is, when I don't know whether it was Umar or somebody, uh, they said, "Man, we got to leave this area and go to where there's no disease." So say you're running from the qadr of Allah, if it's disease. And Umar told him, I think it was Umar, he said, "No, I'm running from the qadr of Allah to the qadr of Allah. If there's a disease in this area and there's no disease in that area, or there's disease over there, I'm running away from that qadr of Allah. Allah hooked that up. So I'm running from the qadr of Allah to the qadr of Allah, because there's no disease someplace, right? And that's where I'm going. You're running from the qadr of Allah to the qadr of Allah." That was pretty good and fiqh. Umar was kind of up there. I'm telling you, because that wasn't necessarily a hadith. He just kind of thought that up. Anyway, uh, we will use Islamic utopian values. Islamic utopian values. Okay, we was talking about we want to help people move from the big cities to the nice utopian little cities, right? Last year, that's what we was talking about. So this is more solidified. This is Islamic utopian values that we're moving from the qadr of Allah to the qadr of Allah. That's what it is. Utopian values. We are going for, we're working for the good. We're looking for the good in human beings. There is, the human being can do stuff that you just shake your head. You say, "Boy, that's pretty cool what they did there." But then they can do stuff to just shock you in good. If we put out good, if we manifest goodness, that means there's a good chance that good will come back. And the evil that comes back will be managed. That's all. You can't expect everybody at the homeless shelter to be good and nice. Some of them is crazy, a little off balance. Some of them been that way so long they don't like nobody. But some of them, the majority of them, been there wish somebody liked them. And if they show them a little likeness, they'll show it right back. So we're looking for the good of humanity. Allah will protect us from the negativity and the bad of humanity. Okay, I think that's enough for tonight. I don't want to overdo it. Did any of this stuff make sense? Okay. Okay, now this is where we're headed. This is the official policy. So when I get up in the morning, this is what I'm working on. Ramadan will be here maybe next week or something like that. Next week, this is what we'll be working on. When Ramadan is over, during Ramadan, we'll try to raise funds so we can go out to California and get busy. When we do that, this is what we're doing. But this is our official workload. This is our policy. This is our policy right now. And all of this stuff around here, it'll fall into place. Yeah, we'll not to hurry up now to do this, that, and other. Shoot, this might be, uh, for staff or for anything, you know. Uh, yeah. So, are there any questions, any comments? Any misapprehensions about all of this? Feel like we're taking a big chance? Hmm?
Brother said military discipline is Islam without the screaming and the shouting.
Mm-hmm.
We can start with the boys and girls committed women scouts. That should be loving enough. Basically, we're recruiting people for humanity basis. Saying that we can start with the boys and girls committed women scouts.
No, we've been thinking bigger than that. That's good what he's saying. We done already did stuff like that. And we did a school here for 10 years or so. We had a school here, and all the children came out good. I mean, they are all in the chief's super duper school right now or then graduated, you know. And, and everybody that even came here, all of your, everybody is in Texas somewhere, you know. We done already did one of those things. And remember the other thing too. That was our training. We didn't for our school. I think we spent at least $500,000 out of the pocket. Nobody never come and said thank you. This, that, and it all. The kids got it. Who needs it, right? The kids they got. Hey man, and then they like school. The parents would punish them and tell them if you don't straighten up, I'm not going to let you go to school. I'm telling you, that's the truth. You know, that's not what it was in my day. And at this time of day, you had to run them off. Y'all got to go home. Right? The kids liked the school. They liked going to school. Therefore, they can't miss because they like going to school, right? If you like going to school, you're going to be, let's say, you're going to be smart because you like doing that, right? Okay. Now, but that question, we have to plan for bigger than 5 or 10 Negroes. 5 or 10 Negroes, stuff like that. We're gonna do Islam. That's Islam, but we want to do Islam on a grander scale, not Islam and Black nationalist Islam, They want to do that for themselves, right? We want to do this for them. That's different. That's altogether different, right? And if they want their people to learn more, they can come help in that. And they'll be getting all the blessings and training they need for entering the world. They'll be trained in psychology, sociology, organization, structure, management, leadership. All of that stuff comes with what we're talking about. It don't just fall off the vine. You got to hook it up. And so, are there any more comments? Yeah. Well, no, we have to get on out there, and that's that's a way to spread Islam too. Not only to the other people, but to have our people an opportunity to do good. Because most Muslims, they might do a little good if it's for them or their crew or something like that, but they're not running around. If they feed somebody, they got cameras, they got 50 cameras there. One plate, right? Tell the truth. This is just pitiful, right? One plate. But I'm telling you, it's one plate, two plates, something like that. Remember when we had that? Here come everybody. Why are you coming here? We would what are you taking pictures for? You know, why are you taking pictures? You wasn't here the other day. You ain't never here, Juma. You don't never show up. You know, and now you're giving people a little chicken, and you just can't stay away. And they probably put it on their thing to say and hinted that this is what they give some charity so that we can do this. I don't know that. I know they wouldn't do that. But anyway, right. Hey man. The key to what you said was they used to have in the Jahiliyyah, they had big niggas and little niggas. They said so and so, oh, that's a little nigga there. He got a Cadillac and everything, nice clothes, but he's a little nigga. But he thinks small. Oh, so and so, that's a big nigga there. Well, he wasn't really that big, but that's where they got their categories. I'm telling you, we want to be big niggas just because we're thinking about it or want to do it. That means that's what we want to do. So we already, boy, Islam is slick. I'm telling you, you get the blessing right away, right? All I got to do is fumble around like I want to do. Well, Allah knows that I ain't really trying. So, but if you, man, uh, that's another thing that we have to be aware of too, that everybody that's involved with us is not going to be thinking like us. Some of people, they bring you one carton of eggs, they want to steal 45 cartons, for themselves. All of that stuff. Because people they're not educated to be selfless. See, they think you have to be selfish, that you get more by being selfish. It's actually the other way around. The more selfless you are, the more you get. Because whatever you would get, you don't even want it. You don't use it. You know what I mean? Doing good is, hey, anyway. So, are there any more questions or comments? How does this military? So, you looked on the thing and it's tons. So, we wouldn't have no trouble at all hooking up military bases, huh? 350. 350. And you know what? We can fill them boys up. With imagine now, okay, it's bad now, but imagine when this dam bursts, all this money they sending out to everybody, and they're setting it up like that so that the rich will get richer and the poor will get poorer. When things are bad, all the rich people now are saving their money. You know why? The big rich. So when this crash comes, they can buy up everything. That's how they do. They engineer the stuff because you build people up, give them everything they want, let them borrow, right? The rich is telling them, give it all away. So when they grow broke, the big rich get everything for 5 cents on the dollar. And they do that over and over again. Why do you think the super concentration of wealth and resources? How is it that less than 1% of the people own, I don't know, they tell different stories, 70%, 60%, 75% of the world's resources are owned by 1 or 2% of the people? That's somebody hooked that up. Okay, so alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. We could have, it's about that time, right? Okay. We could have adhan and iqamah, inshallah. Allah.